This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Twin Peaks: The Return. It's a Wonderful Lie by Gino C. Mongelli. Introduction. Hello. Welcome to yet another Twin Peaks book. I hope you enjoy your stay. It's a Wonderful Lie is a small and almost, but not quite, free offering from one longtime Twin Peaks fan to all the other Twin Peaks fans out there, especially to those interested in analyses and interpretations. This book, put together over more than 2 years, takes the form of a slightly loosely arranged grouping of themes, ideas, critiques, and questions, which will hopefully lead to getting more enjoyment out of the series. It is a book of reasoned interpretations, some of them interlinking, that give you room to dream, as Lynch often says. I think it should also be said up front that you will find no grand scheme here that explains every little bit of Twin Peaks, a limited event series, Here and After, The Return. I simply don't think that's possible. Some Twin Peaks viewers might find that the material gets a little too deep or technical at times, but this is not going to be a murky academic text. We will be working with concepts related in various ways to The Return, and some of them will be a little complicated, but I've tried to write as clearly as possible. Casual fans might also feel a little jolted by some of the criticism of The Return included in this book, particularly in Chapter 9. This is not going to be an entirely gushing treatise, but I will not be unfair either. There are things that I love, like, dislike, and hate about this 3rd season of my favorite TV show ever. So now, what was that I said about there being no grand scheme? Twin Perfect's interpretations presented in his popular YouTube videos have excited many viewers because of the way they wrap up the whole series, and virtually everything else David Lynch has ever made, with a nice tidy bow. Others can only shake their heads at the seemingly condescending way in which he treats them and the show they love so much, and marvel at how people would say, he cracked the case about a guy whose TV/film interpretations read more like a crackpot theory than a serious analysis. Both sides have merit. In the main part on Twin Perfect included in this book, in Chapter 8, I will be both critical and praising. On the one hand, I find his view of art engagement too reductionist, and I believe he made what you might call some helpful blunders to support his claims, but on the other, he excels at researching clues and interpreting scenes, and should be an honorary bookhouse boy for the number of interesting interpretations he put forth in his videos. I have tried to keep that spirit of balance in engaging with his videos in this book. As for how I see it, there is no overarching symbolic message to The Return. That's not a subtle postmodernist claim. I just, first of all, don't think a near 18-hour piece from David Lynch can all be fit into one tight mold. And I think Lynch's works doubly defy that kind of pigeonholing, where there must be one correct answer, where a thing can only be one thing. To reduce is to ossify. Rather, Twin Peaks as a whole is alive, and it is through our engagement with it that it continues to live, through a co-creative golden circle between the art and the audience. Lynch himself talked about a circle something like this, which will be discussed later in this book. Looking at seasons 1 and 2 of Twin Peaks and other Lynch works, it seems to me that The Return is more like a large patchwork of different themes Lynch is interested in, different windows on the world. I tried to investigate The Return in that mode, looking deeply into pieces of it, coming up with theories, and looking mostly at Lynch's interest and a few of my own, especially where they meet with Lynch's. There will be a lot of new ideas presented. You will also find a lot of connections to other films and some TV shows that have influenced Lynch and yet have not much been talked about. I hope that readers will feel an accelerating sense of new ways of looking at things as the book works towards its interpretational crescendo in the last chapter. That said, while I have worked hard to come with a number of interpretations that I think readers will find both unexpected and plausible, you won't find answers to some of the most mysterious parts of the series. Such is the life of a Twin Peaks fan. You also might read a few interpretations that were new to me but that everyone knows about already, but they will be minor ones. I found it important to avoid, at least to the extent possible, reading what everyone has to say about the show online, as it was essential to me to write this book from my personal engagement with the series. For years and years I have wanted to write a book on the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, but given the amount that has...
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.